I'm Ava Laura.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is Black Women Leave America podcast, where we highlight holistic wellness, travel, mental health, and self-care through traveling outside of America to reconnect and rediscover who you are. It's time for us to leave any condition that disrupts our peace. Black Women Leave America opens your eyes and explores new ways of living, but more importantly, new ways of being. Because sometimes you have to leave in order to find yourself.
Welcome to Black Women Leave America, where sometimes you have to leave in order to find yourself. I'm your host, Ava Laura, and my amazing host.
And I'm Jessica. See, I said it upbeat that time.
And we're coming to you today with another amazing guest. I'm so excited. This is our first time meeting this amazing woman, but she has a story, y'all. So we just gonna go right in and just dive in. Miss Delisa, how are you doing today?
I am doing very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. So you actually came to us from another guest that we had who said you gotta come. You gotta have you on the show. So thank you so much for showing up and being here. So tell us a little bit about you and how you ended up living abroad.
Okay, so I moved to Dubai back in 2014, but the story was one of my friends was moving to Qatar. And so we were planning her going away party. So in the process of planning, she asked me, hey, why don't you come with me? Excuse me. Why don't you come with me? And I'm like, I'm not going over to Qatar. Are you crazy? And I said, if I go overseas, it would have to be, somewhere where there's a beach. So that day she was like, well, let's see, what they have. And so we went on teachaway.com. And lo and behold, because I'm at the time I was a school counselor. And so on teachaway.com, it said school counselor Dubai. And I'm like, no way. And she was like, oh my God. And I think she kind of knew already. So that's why she
already
look on there. And I asked her, I was like, did you know this was on here? And she was like, no, I didn't know, but I think she did. And so that day I applied.
Wow.
What, a couple of, maybe a week or two later, I got like the first initial interview from Teachaway. And then, maybe a couple of weeks after that, the actual private school called and I had scheduled an interview, got the job. And gosh, I don't even remember when that was, whatever month that was. And so that August, I was moving.
Oh. So from the time she said, why don't you join me, to the time that you left, how long was that?
Not long at all. I had to get everything together. I know it had not have been the summer. I want to say either May or June, because I was still currently in the school system I was in. So
we're talking about a few months.
Yeah, so it may have been in April. It may have been in April because I was still, contracted and I had to let my job know. So they were excited for me, of course, but it's like, wait, you're leaving us, but wait, you're going overseas.
And before that time, had you ever thought of living overseas before?
Never. It never even crossed my mind. Now, I like to travel, the Caribbean, Hawaii, over here, but it never crossed my mind to move to another country. Who does that, right?
Right. Who does that? I'm like, you must be such an adventurous spirit. And so I'm assuming, were you single, married, children? Because, for a lot of people, they're like, I couldn't just do that. You hadn't thought about it. It wasn't anything that you planned. Everything was happening really quickly. So how were you able to kind of just uproot, move your life so quickly?
Well, I was single at the time, so I didn't have anyone really to answer to. I didn't have, I was single, no kids. So I was it was easier to just uproot myself. I remember telling my sister who I'm in business with, I was like, you know what? I'm moving over to Dubai. And she was like, well, who did you consult with? And I'm like, myself? Like,
I love it.
because it's nobody else, that can tell me what to do with my life. And so, I mean, in a nice way, this wasn't a mean
No,
way.
it didn't have to be nice,
Yeah.
but
I'm
yeah.
asking me, right? I'm asking me for me. that whole
Right.
Snoop Dogg.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
you gave
so
yourself permission. It's okay.
I gave myself permission because I was just at the point, y'all, where I just wanted to do something different. You get to
Okay.
the same things we're doing for the holidays, the same group of people, the same friends. It was just like my life was like going like this, in a circle. And I remember sitting in my living room, and this was, before my friend, asked me to go. But you know how, like, well, in my living room, it's a ceiling fan, and it was just going in a circle, in a circle. And that's how I felt like my life was. And
Yeah.
so when the opportunity came, like, I didn't even blink. I was like, why not? Let's just see what happens.
Y'all, I'm telling y'all, this is some nuggets right here, because how many times, are we praying for something or asking for something, or, really feeling like I want to change, I want something different. And then the opportunity comes and you're like, oh no, I can't do that.
Right.
I didn't plan for that. Or
Right.
that's not what it's supposed to look like. I wanted this, because you hadn't even thought about living anywhere else, but you were in a space where you were ready for change.
Yes. Definitely ready for change, because I was also a photographer, and I remember leaving in August. The story is just crazy, because you'd be like, why would you do that? But the day I was leaving, I'll never forget, August 16th, I had a wedding in Savannah. So I had to do I did the ceremony and group pictures for that wedding. And then I had another photographer take over the reception. So from Savannah, I flew to Atlanta. My mom and my best friend at the time had my bag. I had already packed everything, but brought my bags to the airport. Yeah, it was, if I even think about it now, I was like, man, like, why did I even do all that? I should have just told the client, hey, sorry. But I was like, no, I got to keep my commitments. I'm loyal. And I was off, and I sat, it was Delta at the time, when Delta and, Dubai, when they were friends. So it was like, I sat there like, I'm exhausted. And that was like, what, a 15-hour flight. I slept a little bit, but I was just so excited, so I didn't sleep the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, what I love is like, yeah, I mean, obviously you could have just put up a boundary and said, no, I can't do this. But I love how like your friends and your family went along with it. It was just normal.
They didn't. Now, of course, they didn't want me to go. They were still like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, and I told myself, it's only 2 years. I'll be back.
And how long did it
5
end up
years
being?
later.
5
5.
years.
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you got there, so not planning this, not really even knowing much about Dubai, you just wanted a beach, your friend was going. What were some of the first things you noticed when you got there?
It was hot. It was hot. If y'all think, because I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, if y'all think Atlanta, Georgia's hot, no. So the first thing, well, before all of that, it was seeing all the different nationalities at the airport. I was looking around like, oh, wow. Oh, okay. Like, it was so many different nationalities, which I learned to love, but it was like okay, so it's not just, Black people or white people or Asian. It was a combination of everybody. And so that was like a really big, like, whoa. And then when you go outside, it's like, oh, that heat hits you, that humidity in
That
August,
dry heat. It's
that
supposed to be
dry
better,
heat.
right? It ain't.
Oh, no. So it was that, when I first landed.
Wow. And I loved it because it's like we're seeing it through your eyes, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
From like the perspective, like I can imagine coming out and like, what the heck?
Like, what's going on here? And at
Very
the time,
descriptive, right?
it was now they don't do it anymore. Well, some companies or schools do, but I had like a sign with my name on it.
Oh, nice.
And so it was walked me through everything from security, immigration to get my luggage and put me in a taxi to my hotel. And
Wow.
I was like, oh, okay, like this is nice. So
So
I
how
felt
did
good.
that work? Because I heard, so what, like what we're told is that like you get housing and all of that. So they put you up in the hotel. So were you in the hotel? Did they eventually get you an apartment? Like how did that work out?
Yes. So at first, I want to say the first 2 weeks we were in a
Mm-hmm.
hotel. And to me, it
Okay.
was nice. Other people were complaining. I wasn't. I didn't have to cook, clean, do anything, right? So the only reason why they put us in the hotels, because our apartment wasn't ready.
Okay.
And I think it was a great way for like our cohort, the
Mm-hmm.
people who was hired to come on that year to bond
Mm-hmm.
and get to know each other because they provided transportation. Um,
Mm,
it was like a little meal voucher. So
mm-hmm.
breakfast was free. They also took us to, the grocery store. Um,
Okay.
well, the grocery store is like in the mall. It's so different. So they took us to the
That's
mall
interesting.
where the
Okay.
grocery store was. Yeah, everything was in the mall. So we went to like Mall of Emirates and we were just able to, see the town there
Mm-hmm.
while before we all went to different apartments.
Got
But the
it. That makes
school
sense.
did provide each of us an apartment. I thought I would have a roommate and we would share. No, we all had the ones who were single had a 1 bedroom
Mm-hmm.
apartment
Nice.
paid for.
Nice. I can dig it. So what about like getting a car, all of that stuff and how did that work out? Did you have to buy your own car? Did they provide transportation?
So that was one thing they didn't provide transportation. And I stayed in the apartment where it was about 10, maybe 15 minutes away from the school.
Okay.
So my neighbor, we're still friends to this day, Andrea, we actually shared a car, so we rented.
Not okay.
Keep in mind, hey, we're only going to be here 2 years. We're just going to rent, not, you know, have all that responsibility. And
Mm-hmm.
so we rented a car. I mean, we shared a car for 2 years. We were going to the
Wow.
same place. We basically had the
I love
same
it.
friends for the most part. And she was my neighbor, like literally next door neighbor to
Okay.
me. And so it worked. Now she left after 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was sad, but then I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to get a car. So I still was like, okay, I'm gonna be here another year, one more year, right? And so we just end up renting. Yeah, I rented a car and I just had it on my own.
It's good for people to know that. And so for anybody who's just like, "Oh my god, this sounds interesting. I want to do it." Like, is this something that they normally do like in the school cycle? So like you said you went in August. Are they always bringing people over to work in the school systems?
Yes, during that time in August. Now, some school systems may bring you on a little earlier in
Mhm.
July, but it's always going to be July, August, or that second semester if someone leaves. So new people were coming in January.
So when y'all watch this, if you interested,
You still can if they're
you can still
hiring.
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
love
there's
that.
other
And
outlets.
I'm sure. Once you go down that rabbit hole though, you'll find, you'll find others. And so were there people from other countries? Like, cause where did everybody come from?
So now that is where I was like, okay, who am I going to work with, right?
Mhm.
So when our cohort, because we were an American, a private American school, most of the my colleagues were American. So they
Okay.
came from different states. It
Okay.
may have been two. No, I know one. Liam was from Ireland. So Liam came from Ireland,
Liam.
and everybody else came from the US. So it was just one. And
Okay.
for that cohort. Other people, that wasn't a part of our cohort, the next year came from other places, but Liam came from Ireland and the rest of us came from different states in the US.
This is good to know. All right, y'all. She done laid the foundation for you all.
And
All
because
right.
they wanted either like American or a British passport to teach. But other schools are different. So you can be from anywhere else and be a teacher or a counselor there.
Good to know. That
Nice.
American passport don't
Now,
do
you
us
said
well
you
here, but
stayed,
it works everywhere else.
right? You stayed 5 years. So why 5 years? Why not leave after because you said you were like,
Get to
I'm
the
just gonna
good
stay one
stuff.
more year.
I had the time of my life there. So after 2 years, like I wasn't ready to go home because I would go home for the summers. Every summer I went home, right? So it wasn't like I missed my family that much to come back after 2 years. And money was decent. So I was traveling. I was, just enjoying, Dubai. And I also met someone.
Who did
So
we meet? Do tell.
I met someone while I was there, and ended up marrying him. So we were dating. So we actually met in our apartment tower, right? And so I was on one end, he was on the other. And at the time, he was working security. And so I never saw him like when we first got there. But the next year, in 2015 is when I met him. And, how that whole, you develop a crush, not going to do anything. You're in another country, whatever. So long story short, we ended up meeting, exchanging numbers, and we were dating. So that's why after my 2 years, I was like, well, I'm kind of not ready to go yet. And so that's why I stayed longer than that.
They don't have this in Hotlanta.
Exactly.
Okay. So were you actively dating at that time, or this was just he was there?
No, because dating in Dubai was a little weird and tricky. So to me, and I would say like all the Black people were in Abu Dhabi, right? So
Okay.
we would go there. It was like an hour away. So we'd go there and we would see all the Black people. Well, all the Black people knew each other too.
Okay.
So
Okay.
maybe not all, I shouldn't say all. So in Dubai, it was a little different. So I was on this dating app, went out with one guy. It was a no. And I was just like, okay, I don't want to do this. Now, when we went out, because there's so many things that that you can do,
Yeah.
I just really didn't see anybody,
Okay.
So the dating scene in Dubai was a little different. Now, I've met some people in Abu Dhabi, some of my friends who met people, and got married, but it wasn't
Okay.
a lot of Black Americans in Dubai that I ran across. It could have
Got
been,
it.
but they just weren't in my circle.
And it might be different now too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's good to know. I didn't know that. Like it was more in Abu Dhabi versus in Dubai. Now, why do you think that is?
The Abu Dhabi school system paid more
Oh,
because you were dealing with locals. You were dealing with the kids who were born and raised in Abu Dhabi or Dubai versus an expat who is coming from another country to go to school. So you
wow.
have I would say more responsibilities with that subgroup culture
but
Mhm.
you know, and they needed stronger
Mm.
women and men to help with you know, the language barrier,
Yeah.
you know, things like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great tip.
Hmm.
Okay. So if you want to get paid more, go to Abu Dhabi, but you
Right.
also are going to be dealing, it's not going to be as easy, I'm going to say.
Correct. Because I mean, it's nothing easy in education, even where we were, but it was, you know, they were on the like American curriculum, but in
Wow.
the public schools, because you know, we were private, some
Mhm.
schools in Dubai are private, and in Abu Dhabi, they were like public schools.
Got it. This is good to know. All
Mhm.
right. So back to this relationship.
Wait,
Oh,
before you go there, I do want to mention that on episode 17, we talked to Kia and she really went through a lot of the teaching and what it's like to
yes.
teach in Dubai. So if you all are interested and you're listening to this or watching this, then definitely check out episode 17 as well. All right, now we can get
Absolutely.
into the relationships and all the good
Yeah.
things.
So
Yeah.
how long were you dating? And why did you say, okay, he's the one, let's do this?
Okay, so we were dating, so that was February of 2015. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So we were dating for I know I had to count, for 7 months.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
he was different, you know, from the other guys, you know, that I've dated, because of his character. I always look at character, like what is
Mm,
your character, right? So he was just a nice guy, but he
mm,
wasn't like the nice guy that's a pushover nice guy. He wasn't that, but he was just a nice guy, and he respected me. He treated me nice. He was romantic. We could talk, and the deal breaker was we went to the beach, and that was like one of our dates. And I
mhm.
kept saying, okay, like after an hour, are you ready? He was like, no, I'm good. I was like, oh, okay. I said, after 2 hours, because I remember I'm a beach bum.
Yeah.
After 2 hours, you good? He was like, oh yeah. 3 hours. So we literally was at the beach for like 4 hours. I was like, oh, he wasn't complaining that it was hot. You know,
Mhm.
he wasn't like, hey, let's go. I'm tired of this. I was like, okay, he is a keeper if he can be with me at the beach. And that was what kind of sealed the
Love
deal.
it. I love it.
That sealed the deal for me. And I was like, man, I was like, because I don't know if I'm going to get this back home. Because, you know, some Black Americans don't like the heat, don't want to be outside, don't like the beach, to stay in the water. And I love it. And so the fact
Yeah.
that he enjoyed it and would want to go back again, I said,
And where is he? And where is he from?
so he's from Nigeria.
And was he born and raised in Nigeria and then working in Dubai?
So he was born and raised in Nigeria. He actually came, if I came August of 2014, he
Mhm.
came May of 2014.
Wow.
And so yeah, and I didn't like really meet him, talk to him until February of 2015.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did that work in terms of, so you got a Black American, you got Nigerian in Dubai, all those cultural differences. How did that work?
It wasn't that bad. At first, I couldn't understand him. I was like, what? Like, what are you saying? Because his accent was so thick. And I was just like, okay, I just gotta, you know, because I'm from Georgia, I can talk slow, you know. And so I just had to hone in on what he, you know, was saying, because he would just say stuff so fast. And I just
Mhm.
told him, I was like, hey, can you just slow down just a little bit? And he was like, oh, am I talking too fast? And I'm like, yeah, because you have an accent, right? But it wasn't bad at all. So I introduced him to my friends. He introduced me to his friends, and we all got along. So it wasn't really a huge cultural difference, because, you know, he was able, of course, to speak English,
Mhm.
and you know, his friends were too.
Wow. And you got
Yeah.
married in Dubai.
No.
Oh, where did you get
So
married?
I we went to Nigeria to get married.
Yes.
Wow.
I wanted this beach cruise, destination wedding, right? And so he said the only thing he wanted was for, his dad to witness us getting married. And so I was like, okay, well, no problem. And so I researched everything, what to do, making sure, everything was legit. So it wasn't the traditional wedding that you think. It was basically the courthouse version of America, but in Nigeria.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Because
because usually it's like the traditional wedding and then it's like the chapel or church
yes,
wedding. Yeah.
yes. And so with the traditional wedding we couldn't do is because my family had to come there
Okay.
and so we did like the version of the courthouse, and so his family was able to witness our union. I was able to meet his family,
Wow.
in Nigeria. And of course, when my family came to visit Dubai, they were able to meet him. So my mom actually came because I still had a bridal shower and all of
Okay.
that good stuff, and my family came up.
Okay. Wow. That's okay. So what does your family think? They like, first of all, you left
Right? I was
and
just
you
about to
went to
say, wait a minute,
Dubai.
you got
And
moms to
now
Dubai? Okay.
Yeah. So when I told them, I was like, so guess what? They were happy for me because they know me and they know, I'm not just going to marry a random, stranger or someone, like, who is this person? You're all the way in another country. And who is this person? So before all of that, even during the dating stage, like my family was able to talk to him on the phone. We did video calling. And they were able to get to know him as well, before he proposed.
wow. How did he propose?
So on one of our date nights, it was actually on my birthday, we were on a dinner cruise yacht. And so I miss those, man. We were on a dinner cruise yacht. And so, we had dinner, we were talking, we went on like the little rooftop area. And
Mm,
he got on one knee and asked me to marry him.
wow. I
Yeah, and
love
of
it.
course, I said yes, and I came
Oh,
back. I told my Dubai friends, and they're like, "Oh my God!" And then I called my family, and they were happy for me.
I love it.
so sweet.
Black love, black love. Love it, love
And
it.
how
Yeah.
long ago was that now?
This was so so that was September. We got married December of 2015. So 3 months later. So it's been, I believe we just celebrated 7 years. Yeah. 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 7 years.
7 years. Oh,
Wow.
okay. So let's move to the next step. Okay. Somewhere in here, a child has been born. Where was
Popped
when
up.
has the child?
Right. And henceforth why I came back. So
Oh,
that was, oh gosh, 2019. So it had 4 years later. Um,
okay.
I had a baby. Now I'm saying it like it was easy. It was not. So I
Mm,
had fibroids, growing up. I
yeah.
found out fibroids at 30. So, it was time. We're like, hey, especially in the Nigerian culture, they want a whole bunch of kids, right? And so I was like, okay, let's start trying. This is exciting. I want two, blah, blah, blah. And at first he said four. No, we're not doing that. And so, went to the doctors there in Dubai, which were amazing. And
Yeah.
so still nothing. So one of my sorority sisters, she had fibroids too, told me about this doctor, so I went. Immediately, that doctor was like, oh, you got scar tissue. That's why you're not able to get pregnant. And so had the surgery, got fibroids removed, scar tissue
Mm,
removed, a cyst erupted. It was just crazy,
wow.
right? And so she was like, okay, your uterus is good. And I forgot when I had that surgery, but then it was my dad's birthday, July 10th of 2018, was it? July, August, September, October, November, December. Yeah, 2018. I found out I was pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah.
So going through all of that, I'm sure it was a lot
Mm-hmm.
mentally, emotionally, all of
Yes.
that. But how was the healthcare system and how much did you have to come out of pocket for all of that?
The healthcare system was amazing. I did not have to pay copay to my doctor's office, like little things that may not have been covered because I was
Mhm.
quote unquote like they call it maternal age because I was
Mm.
43 at the time.
Wow.
And so I was 43, so maternal age. So just those different tests, to make sure the baby, you
Mhm.
know, comes out okay. I had to pay for some of those out of pocket. But other than that, once I delivered, my bill US may have been like $1,000 or $2,000. That's it.
Mm.
That's it. Like they paid for everything. And I had the best doctor, the best care. I went in there because I had to have a scheduled cesarean. And
Mhm.
so she was like, "Are you good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like I'm ready, like I want to see my baby." Right. So she was like, "Oh my God, like you're the first person who's excited, about having a cesarean." I was like, "Well, I don't mind. I've been cut so many times down there, it doesn't even matter." So I didn't care about scars and, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have a natural birth. Who cares? I'm about to have a baby.
Yeah.
It was already so hard.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was
Perspective. That's
like,
real.
I won't be wearing a bikini bathing suit anytime soon. So yeah, so great care, great doctors, and I found the right one. And I saw her picture. She had the best smile, and I said, I'm going with her.
I
And
know that's
everybody
right.
else did too. It was waiting and scheduling appointments. Every time I was there, I had to schedule my appointment for the next month.
Mm.
Super busy, but amazing.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love it. And what about like time off? Like how much time off did you have after you had the baby?
Well, this is only education, so we only get 6 weeks. Um,
Only 6 weeks.
only
I
six
mean,
weeks.
that's max here.
Oh,
That's like, wow, you can get 6 weeks.
we only get 6 weeks. But if I was like a native, I think they got longer off work. Yeah, but in the
So
school
it's different.
system, it was definitely different. So, but I think I took an extra 2 weeks because I had sick time.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think I had 8 weeks. And so my mom came up and then she helped with the baby. She was there for 2 months. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was there for 2 months. And so my husband at the time, because we were already talking about leaving,
Mm-hmm.
because I said I didn't want, and the only reason I left is because for two reasons. One, I wanted my daughter to grow up with her family,
Okay.
you know? So my mom, because I wanted my mom to move to Dubai and she can get a
Mm-hmm.
visa, I can sponsor her, and
I
we could
know
just
that's
live
right.
happily ever after there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm like, okay, what about, my dad, my daughter's, aunts and uncles, my
Mm-hmm.
family. So I didn't want her to miss out on knowing them, you know?
I get
So
that.
that was the reason. And the other reason, my husband, he didn't have an American passport.
I
So
was about to ask you about that. Yeah.
we were gonna we could travel, but you always gotta apply for a visa.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, to cut all of that out, we go to America. When it's time, apply for, your passport, American
Mm-hmm.
citizenship. And so that's what we did. And so it's been three
Wow.
years. He just got his citizenship a couple of months
Mm.
ago.
Awesome. So how does he like living in America now?
Yeah.
He likes it minus the taxes,
Well.
but he likes
Well.
it. And we
Yeah, well, I
stay in
want
a decent, we stay in a good area where it's no crime or anything like that. So he
Mm-hmm.
likes the fact that, it's safe, but taxes, when he see his check, I said, I told you, because in Dubai it's tax free. You don't pay,
Oh.
taxes there. So whatever you get, if you get $1,000, you get your whole $1,000.
Yeah, they take out everything.
Everything here, but I warned him. But overall, he loves it. He got a good friend group.
Okay.
A couple of people that he knew from Dubai are now here in the States, and one is in Georgia. So they see each other often.
Now, as we bring this to an end, what are you doing now? And is there any thoughts of going back to Dubai?
I would
At some
love to
point?
go back. No, I am going back to Dubai in 2024 because I'm going to take my daughter when she turns 5 back to where she was born.
I love it.
And then,
I love
some
it.
of my friends, will still be there. So, because I went, not 2022, I think it was 2021, stayed with friends, so, cut down on the cost. But so we are going to go back to move. No, no, but to visit, maybe get property one day there, real estate. Absolutely. I'll do that in a heartbeat.
Okay.
But what I'm doing now, I do so many things, but I manage a wedding and event center in Riverdale, Georgia, and I am going to relaunch my self-publishing agency. So I published 3 books while I was there in Dubai, because who had time to do it, here in the US? So I had time.
I
on
hear that. She had a full-time job and had time.
And had time. And had time
let me put a
travel.
pin in that real quick. Why? What's the difference between being in Dubai versus being here and feeling like you have more time there versus being here? Because you're the same person.
I am the same.
It's still 24 hours.
It wasn't as many distractions. So I didn't have my family. I had my circle of friends, but we would go to work, come home, or go to work, hang out. But I had time. I don't know. It just seemed like more time, and it was less stress.
That's it. Well, that'll give you your time back.
It was less
right
stress.
there.
Yeah. Because I would write, while I was at the beach. I would write in faculty meetings. And so it was just, yeah. It was just less stress.
Do you feel like it was the environment? Like just you didn't feel as heavy, maybe racism as well. I was going to ask about that in the hospital system, right? It seems like you were just very free. There was no
none at all.
And you felt like you might have to protect yourself or advocate for yourself. And you didn't sound like you had any of those issues.
No, because that was the thing I talked about, because it was so many nationalities. Like outside of America, like I wasn't a Black American. I was just an American, so they don't look at color. They just look at, what does your passport say? And I was an American. So, that could be another episode of, if you're not an American, how are you treated? So it wasn't to me like a race thing. It was more class. So if you were from India or Pakistan or, certain parts of Africa, you were treated differently and the jobs were differently, and you didn't get the same amount of treatment as an American or British or Ireland. Yeah, but really doctor, it doesn't matter. Delisa, come on in. Like, I felt no discrimination there.
I think
that makes
that's
it easy to write.
Yes.
Lets the creativity just flow.
Yes. Yes.
No, that's huge to understand that it is the same 24 hours, but the lack of stress, the lack of worry, the lack of anxiety, depression, all these mental health things that we deal with change the whole game. Like, you got time, you got energy, you got focus, so you really can concentrate and do the things that you want to do.
Yeah, and I did, because, while working there as a school counselor, it was the same issues. It's just a different set of kids. So I just apply, the same things, from the US, to Dubai. And actually the kids helped me create the concept too, because I had to work with a group of kids who didn't make good choices, work with a group of kids who weren't kind. In my last year, my middle schoolers helped me do make the book confident because they weren't confident in themselves, listening to the boys, so it was just my experience there also helped me to be able to write.
I love it. I love it. And so what I do love too is that when you came back, you made a change. So tell me, so what happened when you came back and how come you didn't go back into education?
So me and my husband already made like the plan. Well, I told him the plan that I wasn't going back into education. I was like, I'm not going back. And so the only reason being is because I needed a break. After I completed my last year there, that would have marked 17 years of being in education.
Wow.
I love it. I love the kids, that's, why I was a school counselor. But honestly, I just wanted something different. So I worked the, wedding and event center. And then I was like, you know what, let me push my books more. So then I started going into schools, working with the kids there, but I didn't have to be there 9 to 5. Or 7 to 4, 8 to, 4 or whatever. I felt freer.
Yeah.
And now with this whole entrepreneur freedom, I don't know if I'm stepping back into the school system.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
I like to be free. I like to wake up. Well, I still wake up because I got to take my daughter to school, but I just like to create my own schedule.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. You left single and came back with a whole family.
I did. And I always said, hey, once we settle, let's go back. But he's willing to go to another country.
Okay.
But
have you all talked about that?
We have, but not anytime soon. Now it's like we have a little girl. She's about to be in pre-K next school, so it's like, just making those decisions because now it's not just me anymore. It's my daughter and it's my husband. So I want to go to Grand Cayman Islands, but hey.
You just want that beach. You all about the beach life.
I'm all about the beach, right? But we're open.
Where are the beaches in Dubai? Nobody really talks about the beaches there.
There's a few. There are a few. Along the hotel, what strip is that? You know where the sailboat,
I know what you're talking about. I've seen it. Yeah.
That strip is the beach. And so to me, that's the best one. But one of the best beaches that I went to was Black Palace Beach. And then they built a community of shops and restaurants and things to do around the beach area in over there in Jumeirah. So there's several. Now, is it the Caribbean, like Bahamas, Jamaica?
Right.
No, but it's kind of close to it.
Okay.
It's still like that nice blue piece, blue water.
Okay.
Turquoise.
It's not American beaches.
No. Went to nothing wrong with
we have like the worst beaches,
right? Our beaches are. Yeah.
It was nice. Yeah, not a Tybee Island. And I came back. I'm like, I'm a little beach bum. I'm a snob. I'm a beach snob. But at this point now, it's hey, Georgia don't have any. So Atlanta doesn't have any. So I'm open.
I love it. I love it. I love your story. Thank you so much. Anything that you want to leave our listeners and our watchers with?
If you're thinking about it, do it. Start, see what happens, because my backup plan, if I didn't like it, yes, you have a contract, but you can always get out of your contract. You can just say, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm going back home. But you just got to make the most of it. Like, I'm a social person, so I was able to, make friends and hang out. I wasn't just going to work, coming back and not having like a friend circle or going out, because if you don't have that, you're not going to like it and you're not going to fit in. So just do it. Teachaway.com. There's others. I just can't think of them right now. Type in moving abroad, education in any job, not just education, engineers, nursing, doctors, anything, you want to do, HR, they are hiring
Yeah, I
because
was
it's
gonna say,
corporate.
are there any sites that you would recommend? I know, is it Teach A Way or Teach
Uh-huh.
A Way?
Teach a way.
Okay, Teach
Mhm.
A Way. Are
Teach
there
a
any
way.
other sites that you can think of that folks can apply to and get interviewed and know that they're going to a position, when they leave the country?
Yeah, so there are several, and I know I Googled some, and you just Google, like, if you know
I
the
was about to
specific
say,
country that you want, let's just say Africa, jobs, teaching jobs or HR jobs in Africa, those
mm-hmm.
search engines will come up. And you just, click on those. And of course, you never want to pay people for a job.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
That would
Yeah.
be a scam. Hey, give me, $50 for this application fee. It is no, unless it's but you'll know if it's a scam or not. But that's why I recommend teachaway.com, because I knew they were legit. My friend did
Mm-hmm.
it for Qatar. So, but
Mm-hmm.
just be mindful of that, but you do not pay for a job.
So
That's
anybody
great.
thinking about moving abroad to work, right? Because we've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs, but this is beautiful. If you do have a job, right, and you
Mhm.
want to keep a job and you want to work abroad, now you have some resources to look, and it's not just Dubai, but I'm sure Dubai, just because it's developing, they're always hiring. There's so much going on, but there are other places
Yes.
like that as well.
And you can do that even if, like, you could still live in Dubai. If you have like your own, entrepreneur job in the US, you can
Mm-hmm.
live in Dubai, still get housing short term. They did away with those laws where you had to be employed to live there.
Oh, so I didn't know that. So you had to be employed.
Yes,
Okay,
at the
that's good to
time.
know.
I had to have an employment visa, or you had to have been an investor to get
Okay.
a visa. Now you can come if I wanted to now work over there for 6 months if I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to, and just pay for housing.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you, Delisa. This has been
You're
awesome. A wealth of
welcome.
information. Thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for just inspiring and motivating our audience to know that, listen, this is not need to be a life goal,
Right.
If you want to change, just be open to the possibilities. And when the opportunity comes, grab it, take action. And then you could end up married with a kid. Or
Absolutely.
whatever else you want. I'm
Right?
like,
But you have the freedom to do whatever it is you want and just give yourself permission. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this, is to give yourself permission.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for coming on. You all make sure that you check us out on YouTube, Black Women Leave America on YouTube, and subscribe on Spotify, all the other podcast networks. Share this with someone that you feel like needs to give themselves permission to do whatever it is they want to do in their lives. Not only leave America, but do whatever it is they want to do moving forward. Thank you all for joining us. We are out. Peace.
Bye.